Ashole mam. Mama yangu anaitwa Christina Pratt Kenyatta. The great people of Kajiado, colleagues, fellow governors present here today who kindly agreed to grace the occasion today, esteemed invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a year later, lest we forget, I took my oath of office exactly 365 days today. It is our first anniversary, and I am extremely excited to stand before you, this great audience of our guests and the great people of Kajiado County. I salute you. Hamjambo. Hamjambo tena. And Asuba. Our anniversary today comes in the backdrop of a very difficult moment for our nation. Moments characterized by hostility and hatred among our leaders, and by extension, our supporters across the political divide. But I'm very glad today that as I stand here before you, our leaders have held the country together when it was threatening to tear apart. We are now reaping the yields of the March 9th golden handshake at the threshold of Harambee House in our nation's capital, Nairobi. The handshake between His Excellency President Kenyatta and the Right Honorable Prime Minister Odinga held the promise of a dawn of a new hope, an ideal, a real democratic society that we all aspire to live in. Congratulations to our leaders. You have lived to their timeless creed, as summarized by some author, that destiny is not a chance, it's a choice. We are glad you sacrificed self and chose peace as well as stability for our motherland. In a sense, ladies and gentlemen, our leaders' gesture of goodwill, which has led to the political calmness around our nation, resonate much with my early days as governor of this great county. As I was constituting my government, many people thought I will go the ill-advised way that you can only work with people who have campaigned with and for you. But under the inspiring patronage of God, the Ancients of Days, I chose unity over division, inclusion over marginalization. I embrace the dual principle of unity of purpose and unity in diversity. I want to thank God the Almighty for enabling me then to have the grace of being simple and real to the dictates of our situation in Kajiado. He guided me at every step of the way, and finally, I kept my promise of uniting Kajiado, which was my campaign slogan. For us, it mattered less whether you belonged to Jubilee or NASA, whether you supported me or not, whether you were in the previous government or not. I tapped into the multiple talents and skills available in Kajiado, our county. Everybody is here and everybody is represented in our government. We are one county, one people. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, a year later, we look back and realize that in a sense, our local handshake, our working together as one, came earlier, and perhaps was a precursor to, a trailblazer for the national handshake. It launched, indeed in earnest, our rallying call of today, transforming Kajiado step by step, sisi sote, side by side. Embedded in this clarion call for this anniversary celebration is what has guided my life since I was a young boy, growing up in this county. This is summed up by some commentator as, try and fail, but never fail to try. For the past 1 year, ladies and gentlemen, we have kept trying and we have made some progress. We have made some moves towards achieving our goals. We have indeed made some changes. We have transformed our people's lives. In all this, we have always worked with the understanding that bit by bit, side by side with everybody else, we will go far. Our guiding adage is a strong belief that a bit of progress now is better than yearning for distant perfection sometimes in future. Consequently, today is the day of reckoning when we have gathered here in this great town of Isinya, for me, in a manner of speaking, to present my report card, just like any good and diligent student at the end of a year presents a report form to parents. In a similar manner today, I am here to present my report card to my employers, the great people of Kajiado, to whom I owe prosperity and to whom I owe development. Ladies and gentlemen, we know so well that adequate finances constitute the engine which runs activities of our county. A year back, we noticed loophole in our revenue collection which demanded urgent attention. For example, the challenges in our finance sector resulted in a huge revenue drop in 2016-17 fiscal year. Therefore, improving the management of revenue collection was the single most important area we gave a lot of efforts to start with. We immediately embarked on a gradual process of transforming our financial and governance system to maximize on revenue collection. For example, we deliberately mapped out our revenue sources and leveraged on ICT as well as automation. At the same time, we strengthened oversight in the identification of sources and mobilization of revenue, broadened the tax base while working toward minimizing the tax burden to support growth of business and manufacturing. Our overall goal in all these changes was to reduce our dependency on the national exchequer. These immediate reforms in our finances are already yielding fruits. For example, our own local revenue rose to 700 million in the year 2017-18 financial year, up from 500 in the 2016-17 financial year. Out of this collected revenue, 80% was collected between January and June this year. This basically saying that currently our total collections are up to 100 million per month or over 4 million a day. Our objectives going forward is, therefore, to maintain this steady growth in our revenues and even do better. We will work to foster an environment in which business and manufacturing can prosper and thrive. Therefore, I look forward to a conducive business environment which will enable us hit our target, our ambitious target of 1.5 billion of our revenues collection this financial year. Another important area we have made tremendous progress in the mainstreaming is the mainstreaming of our people, everyday people, in our development agenda. In the past 1 year, the social doctrine of my administration was that solutions to problems we face and policies which inform our activities were enacted, formulated, and executed as close to the local communities as possible. Ours is people-based, people-focused, and people-oriented development. For example, we refocus our budgets with a moral obligation in mind to end exclusion in the provision of education, healthcare financing, marginalization of women and other vulnerable groups, the disabled, elderly, and poor. Therefore, all our social programs are based on the fact that the beginning of a true transformation process is simply in the investment in our people. However noble, however enriching our priorities can be, we cannot change our county without changing the plight of our people. Our everyday people are the greatest resource we boast of. And therefore, transformation does not simply involving changing laws, changing policies, and changing programs, but equally changing and touching the hearts of our people through investment in their education, health and water service provisions. In our education, I have no doubts in my mind whatsoever that this is the sector that will lay the very firm foundation in our desired step-by-step, sisi sote side-by-side transformation of Kajiado County. It is my strong belief that neither child nor adult of the great county of Kajiado should be denied access to an education. In this past year, in tandem with an yielding affinity to education, our utmost goal was to increase literacy and numeracy among our people. However, it is in the area of early childhood development and education that we acquired one more first, and this is our first. Early this year, we became the first county in this country to employ over 600 ECD teachers on permanent and pensionable basis. Not only that, we trained 32 of our vocational training centers instructors on the new competency-based curriculum and the Kenya School Readiness Assessment. Friends, it is obvious to say that our county is drought-prone, making people to be on the move constantly for their livelihood. This often affects retention of our children in ECD. To stem the effect of movement, we started our school feeding program to improve school retention rates for ECD pupils. We have further sought the improvement of access to learning materials in preschools from 0 to a ratio of 1:4, and our final target is a ratio of 1:1. In supporting students from low-income families to access education to college levels, we have strengthened our bursary disbursement. This year alone, shilling 100 million was disbursed towards this cause, more than double in the previous year. Furthermore, when I came into office last year, I constituted a task force meant to drive the establishment of the first public technical university in our county. This initiative is at a very advanced stage, and the Commission for Higher Education is supporting us in entirety. In another social development index, healthcare service provision, our goal was to take care of the remotest of our areas in the county without forgetting our townships. First, we had our emphasis on preventive healthcare through provision of clean water for drinking, sanitization and hygiene in our rural schools, and the promotion of primary health training for expectant and lactating mothers on hygiene, nutrition, and dietetics. In the provision of curative care, we upgraded 3 health centers to level 4 hospitals and 12 dispensaries to health centers. Our main referral hospital in Kajiado is now truly a referral hospital with more comprehensive services that were not offered before. We emphasized increased access to our healthcare facilities, steady supply of medical and equipment and medicines, upgrading of our hospitals, as well as recruitment and retention of our staff. We acquired 6 ambulances, which have tremendously increased our efficiency in emergency response, and introduced maternity services in all our health centers across the county, and made the renal unit, mainly for dialysis at Kajiado Referral Hospital, fully functional and offers free services to all NHIF card holders. However, there were 2 greatest highlights in our healthcare services provision in the county in the past 1 year. First, we emerged top among all counties on the first phase of the polio immunization drive recently launched by the National Government Ministry of Health. We attained a 124% coverage of polio immunization against a target of 95%. I am confident that this secures our children from the risk of disability in future. Second, another highlight of the year in the healthcare provision is our new program of Mbusi Moja Afya Bora, which will involve a whopping 5,000 families. In this case, we have targeted to provide NHIF cards on the basis of 1 goat, 1 card. In this program, we are using the familiar and common source of livelihood among our rural population to give vulnerable groups access to healthcare services. Our key target groups are low-income people, child-headed households, widows and their children, people living with HIV and AIDS, the unemployed, and those whose annual income is less than $12,000 annually. Right now, it is an all-system go. We are launching the program this coming month, September 3rd. The people of Kajiado and friends, please come on that day to witness as we put a smile on our vulnerable people's faces. His Excellency the President has confirmed his strong support for this project, for it is much in keeping with Agenda 4 universal health coverage. Away from education and health, in this past year, we made it our duty to provide essential services and provisions to those who suffer from endemic poverty and the vulnerable. First, we started with food distribution programs for the struggling families, and especially during the drought season. Second, we adopted a thorough much-needed distribution of sanitary towels to all our girls in schools under the leadership of my friend and your county's First Lady. That has sorted big time the vulnerability of the pastoralist girl to the vagaries of biology. We are working very closely with the national government to bolster protection for the elderly and the very sick. Ladies and gentlemen, let me now turn to the services we offered the youth during my year in office. I believe we cannot talk about quality and inclusion without young people within the matrix of our development. The celebrated Nigerian Nobel laureate Ole Soyinka once said, and I quote, "No one is rich enough to buy yesterday, but if you hustle hard, tomorrow could be yours." Another commentator has said, "The choices we make and the chances we take determine our destiny." Those are the words I want to pass on to our young people in Kajiado. I know we face an economic crisis of high unemployment in its various forms, but that should not be an excuse not to hustle hard enough to claim tomorrow for yourselves, and should not be an excuse to fail to make the right choices which will determine your destiny. As your governor, I want to encourage you, I want to tell you to hunt for your dreams right here in Kajiado. I have done my all to create viable spaces for the youth because I know for sure that it is you who will bring about change. It is you who want a better Kajiado tomorrow. It was only early this week, August 14th, 2018 to be specific, that we distributed checks to over 200 youth groups to support their businesses under the Women and Youth Enterprise Fund. Further, we are seeking partnership with other organizations to capacitate the youth to have the potential for self-employment, job creation, increased prospects for employment. We have partnered with the KCB Foundation to train and equip over 1,000 young men and women with vocational skills which will provide them with such opportunities. Equally, we are working closely with the International Fund for Animal Welfare to train game scouts to help communities in caring for wildlife. In a sense, this will accord our youth opportunities for employment. When I visited the United States of America recently, I realized that we have a high potential to create viable networks with the Kenyan diaspora. It is to our advantage that the Kenyan diaspora is literally Kajiado. Many of them, even when they do not come from Kajiado, have property here. They are an embodiment of investment opportunities and ICT knowledge transfer. I thank them for the continued role of their remittance and the engagement going forward. We will work together with them to protect them from local conmen. And shortly we are going to open a diaspora desk to explore how we can work with our diaspora out there for the development of our county. Another component of development that sapped my energy in the past 1 year was the provision of water. I realized from the outset that however grandiose, however noble, all the plans we had for our social development will remain just that, plans, if we did not have sound, effective, and efficient water management, distribution, and sharing policies. This is because our county is an acute water scarce county. Put simply, water here is perhaps more precious than gold. Our livestock, our livelihoods, culture, and even our notions about natural reality revolve around water. Our people have wasted their precious lives working hours on end in search of this precious liquid. I am not a prophet, but I can clearly foresee that if not very well managed, the future in Kajiado will be full of water conflicts. Consequently, we had little choices but to prioritize the supply and provisions of water to households, education institutions, and health facilities with our county resources in partnership with the national government, agencies, and other partners. In this financial year, our budgetary allocation for water of Kenya shilling 330 million, a big increase from the previous year, 100 million. This financial provision by my government demonstrates our unwavering commitment to raising water coverage in the county from the current 35% to 60% in the next 4 years. Besides dismal budgetary allocation, governance and management in the water sector was really wanting. The technical skills and financial viability of many water companies in Kajiado was doubtable. Within my first year in office, we took a decision, albeit painful to some, and replaced all water companies by one giant, Kajiado Water and Sewerage Company. We hope with this drastic change, the prolonged period of dry taps, dry wells, dry boreholes, long queues of donkeys with jerrycans trapped on their backs looking for water will one day be history in Kajiado. Our water reforms campaign is unstoppable, fighting by vicious cartels notwithstanding. In addition to governance restructuring, we have operationalized several water projects to increase prospects of steady supply in virtually all our rural and several townships. Our overall goal, our aim in all these operations is to tremendously increase the number of our people who have access to clean drinking water and other domestic uses, as well as water for livestock, industry, and irrigation. Closely tied to water provision services is the issue of food security. Our social cultural diversity, steady growing demand for land, and the rapid population increase simply means that there is a critical need to evaluate and implement sustainable food security strategies. It goes without saying that our local land acreage is shrinking by the day for any meaningful pastoralism. In the past 1 year, therefore, we have explored and gradually adopted modern agricultural practices technique. This is not merely as a response to our county's changing land tenure, but also underscores the overarching goal of embracing a robust capacity building program. The program is aimed at boosting our people's ability as well as enterprise farming and livestock keeping. It is our hope that this can enable them to either withstand or completely overcome the habit of living at the mercy of the vagaries of nature, droughts, and floods. Our emerging agricultural program therefore emphasizes sustainable hay production as the single most important focus in our policy. We have set aside land for hay production in Emali and Kajiado demonstration farms for training our people in new approaches in the production and storage of food for our livestock. Also, we are targeting group ranches and big landowners for partnership with us. I am glad and satisfied to note that we are not alone in this ambitious agricultural enterprise. Key partners, for example, KCB Foundation, are collaborating with us. The foundation is training cooperative and self-help groups on pasture production. A total of 57 community-based pasture production groups and 72 individuals were trained in this past year alone. Not only that, the National Irrigation Board is partnering with us to construct 200 farm dams to boost horticulture, farming, especially in Imbirikani and Matapato southwards. 52 of these dams were dug in the course of this 1 year and are already in use. Besides plan to increase hay production and ways of storing water for livestock, we intensified animal disease surveillance, prevention, and control to promote sustainable livestock farming. We hosted the Kenya Pastoralist Week 2018 and attracted more than 5,000 visitors, which gave a chance of our local farmers to interact with their counterparts. To boost farming, we distributed fertilizer and new drought-resistant variety of seeds. However, our greatest highlight for the year was our bid to promote modern agriculture. This was a product of our new strong emphasis on value addition. Consequently, we have made budget provision this year to complete and operationalize the tomato processing plant in Kajiado South. The people of Sinya, you too, have not been left out in this grand plan. Here, we have established a tannery plant at Isinya. Currently, it is at its final stage of completion. When complete, it will add value to our hides and skins and create employment for our youth. Ladies and gentlemen, land is not only an important factor in all our processes of production in our county, but also a very emotive issue. From the outset, we were determined to ensure that our people utilize their land resource in the most sustainable manner, in ways which are good for the people of Kajiado, investors, and our natural environment. However, when it comes to land use, our county's proximity to the nation's capital, Nairobi, is both a great blessing and in some ways a curse. On one hand, Kajiado is increasingly emerging as the bedroom of Nairobi. On the other hand, it is attracting the unwanted and controlled constructions in total disregard of laid down urban planning and land use guidelines. To stem the haphazard growth in land use in the past year, we formulated a spatial plan which sets out guidelines on our land management. This plan sets aside land for pastoralism, agriculture, and commercial use. Operating outside this plan is totally unwelcome in Kajiado. Equally, to further enhance proper land management, we sought to leverage on technology. We introduced a fully functional GIS lab, which will provide a digital solution to the status of our various parcels of land, both public and private. Also, we installed an automated development control system. Currently, we are implementing land division guidelines and zoning policy. It is important to note that we worked to bring all these changes in our land use and management in ways which support business, investment, and promote the highest respect for private property in the county. We have now digitized all our land records and developed an efficient registry whose flow system to enhance efficiency and effectiveness in some delivery in our land registry. We have secured the registry using modern technology to safeguard all land information. Ladies and gentlemen, all the wonderful ideas we have in accelerating development will come to naught, zero, without efficient and reliable infrastructure, particularly in the transport sector. Our commitment in that direction is unwavering. With that in mind, we embark on a renewed focus on infrastructure development. We have raised our budget provision from Kenya shilling 380 million in 2017-18 financial year to Kenya shillings 830 million in the current 2018-19 financial year, which represent a whopping 53% increase. Further, we are not unmindful of the fact that the recent heavy floods in the county hit us very hard. They were a great setback on our ongoing roadworks, since many were destroyed and had to be reworked on. Despite this setback, we are glad to note that in the past 2 years, we graded and marked 974 kilometers of roads. Of this, we did over 500 kilometers road during the past 1 year of my tenure as your governor. Beyond road grading and marraming, my government has for the first time launched a program to tarmac some of our roads, particularly in our townships. First, within 1 year, we tarmac the market road in Ongata Rongai, which serve traders and customers at the local market. In partnership with the national government and the World Bank, we have done the Kitengela GK Prison Road and Kitengela Bus Park respectively. Further, the ongoing national government projects, among them the upgrading to bitumen standard of the Isara, Imaroro, Kajiado Road, Isinya, Kiserian, Ngong Road, and the recently launched Ngong Ewaso Suswa, as well as several feeder roads in Kajiado North, combined with the 2 SGR exchanges, are among major infrastructural projects that will make Kajiado a true business hub. Equally, we are keen to light up our townships in a bid towards achieving a 24-hour economy. This far, we have put up 192 solar-powered streetlights and 36 floodlights. There is a deliberate move to use green energy as opposed to electricity on these lights to reduce operational cost. All this notwithstanding, it was in the transport sector that the county scored another first. We partnered with Tata Chemicals Magadi to launch a commuter train service between Magadi, Kajiado, and Konsa. The train service runs twice a week, on Wednesdays and Fridays. There are indications clear that this service will enhance efficient movement of goods and people. That way, it will boost trade in Kajiado West, Central, and East. We have plans to extend this service to Emali, soon to tap into the opportunities of the livestock market in that town. Ladies and gentlemen, for the achievement of the great plans we have outlined, we have laid down in the past year, we want to have very clear demands and deliverable from our county government officers as well. It was only yesterday that all county ministers, chief officers, and directors signed their performance contracts. With this in place, I want to tell you, my officers, that it will never be business as usual. I highly appreciate your efforts in the 1 year that has gone by. I know that I now want you to be more honest, more serious, and fervent than ever. You have done well this far, but I know you can now do better. You owe it to the great people of Kajiado. They need your services. They need efficient service and effective service delivery. I'm very sure that our people, and they always tell me this, that they are tired of being told of target setting, action plans, work schedules, so on and so on. This time around, they need work itself, they need service, they need delivery, and not mikakati. Ladies and gentlemen, for all that I have said today, it is crystal clear that my 1 year in office is a trail of triumph, a portrayal of struggle that have yielded progress in every step of the way. I am humbled to know that the great people of Kajiado, this far, we have come together, but we still have a long way to go. To paraphrase the words of the celebrated author Ellen White, we can only fear what lies ahead of us together if we forget how God, the Almighty, has led us together in this past 1 year. Ours was a collective vow that devolution should ideally serve the interests of inclusivity, integration, and harmony amongst us. It should enable us, the citizens of this county, to pursue our individual and collective goals. In Kajiado, we need prosperity, we need fairness, and we need dignity as well. Our development trajectory, anchored on our readiness to transform our plight and our way of doing things by any stretch of imagination, should deliver our desire to be a better Kajiado and by extension, a better Kenya. In 1 year, we have developed an unrivaled reputation of being a haven of many firsts as a county. Finally, I cannot hesitate to beseech you, the great people of Kajiado, that let us continue that way. Let's be trendsetters. Let's neither relent nor recant working together, transforming Kajiado County step by step, sisi sote, side by side. God bless Kajiado. God bless Kenya. Ashe Oleng. Santeni sana. Huyu Lamarti mtu wa kuimba kutoka Samburu akijitayarisha na MC kutuelekeza. Wacha tuna mimi pia niunge mikono yangu katika kazi mzuri inaendelea kwa taifa letu ya Mheshimiwa Rais Uhuru Kenyatta. Mambo ya ufisadi ni jambo ambayo Wakenya wote wanasimama naye. Na mimi naona rais anapata marafiki zaidi kuliko vile inafikiriwa kwamba anapoteza marafiki. Na kwa hivyo watu wa Kajiado tunamuunga mkono, na kwa mambo ya Mau tulisema msimamo wetu kitambo kwamba Mau sio ya Narok tu, sio ya Wamasai tu, sio ya Kenya tu. Mau is an international important system that must be protected not only for ourselves but even for generations to come. Naona mumesikia nimesema mambo mengi ambayo tunafanya na serikali kuu. Our greatest partner in this county, people of Kajiado need to know, is our national government. Mnajua mimi nilikuwa waziri, in fact mara mingi rais ananiitaga waziri governor, na kwa hivyo nikitangaza miradi ya serikali kuu ni kwa sababu mimi ndio mwakilishi number 1 wao katika kaunti yetu. Mimi ndio pia nafuatilia miradi ambayo tuliahidiwa na serikali kuu kwa niaba yenu katika kiwango ya kaunti. Na kwa mambo ya Portland Cement, kama jamii ya Maa, hatujafurahia vile watu wengi wamefutwa kazi kabisa, na tutasimama kama viongozi kudai hiyo haki yetu. Lakini vile vile hatuwezi poteza wafanyikazi na tupoteze MD. Olengerini mtoto wetu, tunasimama na yeye tukidai kwa kampuni kwa nini kampuni imemlazimisha kuimplement policies ambayo inaumiza watu wake. Na kwa hivyo mwelekeo ni kwamba hiyo kufuta watu zaidi ya 500 kazini ni uamuzi wa Portland, sio uamuzi wa MD. Na kwa hivyo sisi zote tutadai hiyo haki yetu. Mheshimiwa Peris, tutatembea na wewe kudai hiyo haki, lakini tutasema kazi ya MD tunafurahia na tunamshikilia mkono. Tunamshikilia mkono kabisa. Ninajua kwa mambo ya ardhi kuna baadhi ya mambo haiendi sawa. Katika group ranch ya Oldonyonyoke, najua kuna watu wakora surveyors walificha title ya hiyo group ranch, na tunawatahadharisha kwamba Director of Criminal Investigation na wengine wataangalia hiyo corruption imeendelea mpaka group ranch title ikashikwa na mtu mmoja. Kwa shamba la Kekonyoke Trust pale Kibiko, ninajua pia kuna ukora ya kikundi fulani wanataka kutransfer kukatwa kwa hiyo shamba kwa ardhi house ambaye ni kinyume na sheria. Ni county ikionekana inapaswa kukatwa ndio itawapatia title numbers, itawapatia necessary approval, na hiyo ukora ya kujificha chini ya ardhi house kuvunja sheria, tuko na nyinyi. Na watu wa Kajiado tena ni washukuru na wageni wetu kwa kukubali uvumilivu mkubwa kama huu kuja kuwa na sisi mchana yote. My brother, fellow governors, our friend senators present, many leaders from our county, accept my personal gratitude. Lama sailanga shero leng Atishipakine itingiria pookin naatoni piinininginyana ata mening'u irkulie amu iyiolo ajo ore elototo ang' naa enailepunye ntae, enailepunye ele osho, enailepunye enaaji. Toning'o nkirorot orgavanani lang' lenoolkula loosambur, ata naa kegol enkutuk enye peno, toning'o sininye msimamo ole Tunai le Narok wene le Dama orkulie ake pookin nchere lazima peekiriamari enaaji. Nikitejo ore enkiguana e Mao nemeeta enkiguana peepukuni te Mao. Nikitejo kiterem emirata enkulukuoni enkop nemitaiki yiok, nikijo maipang'a tilo pul. Najoki ntae ashe oleng' entang'amu ena report enyorrata, kayiolo ajo kumok intokitin nitu ning'ung'u, kake enoshi maendeleo kigira ainasu peyie kitum aatoning' enikinkunari kipoito dukuya. I know we have a number of many small projects we could not say here. Our website, Transforming Kajiado, is on, and so for the finer details of our transformation agenda, please visit our website. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki.